Doug Funny.
Yeah.
Get ready. Get set. It's the Project Ion Podcast with Kevin, Andy, Jim, and Kyle, bringing you opinions on life from a basement in Northwest Iowa.
Oh, come on.
I really don't think that a president can do much about that issue.
You are fake news.
Well, let's say it's a guy named Seats.
I make you scary.
Man, this shit whack, man. I'm gonna do a scam.
I want to save him until he goes through puberty.
Project Ion.
What's up? Episode 56, I think.
That's a fair amount of episodes.
Yeah.
I suppose a year and a half, though, eh? Ish.
Yep.
We've been at it a while.
More than most.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
that is true.
Good point. We haven't,
And reasonably consistent.
yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, we had a couple little hiatuses, but,
Hey.
you know, overall,
Got to have a break here or there.
Yeah, it's hard work.
that's right.
Yeah, no doubt.
No lack of material.
That's
Lord.
for sure.
Good Lord,
Yeah.
2020.
Doesn't everybody say that about every year, though? I feel like I recall people
yeah.
being like, oh my God, the world's on fire. It's 2019.
2019 just so
I can't
bad.
wait for 2020.
Yeah, I think 2020 is on.
Yeah. I used to think that, people are just blowing hot air when they'd say it's the worst year ever, but this year I actually feel like it could be the worst.
It's a bad one. It's a weird one.
Not for
that-
not for any legitimate reasons, but just like
Well,
what's in the air floating around.
And do you feel like, as connectedness grows and as like scrolling through the news feed / the social media feed, like as that grows, we just become more hyper aware of every little freaking thing.
Definitely fair. I think.
And whereas back in the day, if it didn't hit the front page of the morning edition,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I think there's a lot to that. Like, the media and the social media's influence on the zeitgeist is pretty substantial. I don't know if we can even measure it, but
Yeah, that's a whole other thing, especially when you consider that they can suppress news as well as promote it.
No doubt.
Jimmy, I just made you host because I forgot we couldn't see we can't see
Oh,
yours.
yeah. My bad. Sorry,
Yeah,
dudes.
sorry about.
you can you can promote hosts in Zoom.
Yep.
That's kind of rad.
Yes. Uh-oh, now we lost Kevin.
We got to wield the power.
Oh no!
There he is.
Hello.
I think it's on that one that switches to whoever's talking right now.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how you... blah, blah.
Okay. Go. Yeah, click on
There you
that.
go.
There
Jimmy.
we go.
Okay. Yep. You got it.
Now, I'm going to make you guys bigger. I hope.
Whoa!
Okay. Nothing like being real professional here.
There we go.
Having it all ready to go before we start. Now, I need to share the audio, too, with you guys somehows, I believe, right?
Yeah, the intro is pretty soft.
We were rocking
But-
out.
If you're host, it should play the audio through your computer. Well.
Now it will.
Okay.
I remembered my little to-do list here. Okay. So, you want to dive into some material here? Just go in order, Kevin, or what do you want to do?
I don't care. I thought we could start with BLM since that's hot these days. I don't know if we've ever specifically addressed it on the show. We've kind of talked around it and have through it, but not addressed BLM as a movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious, I guess, what your guys' thoughts are on both the movement and the idea, because I think that they're two separate things. The more that I look into it and think about it, BLM seems to be both an idea and an organization.
Mm-hmm.
You guys find the same thing?
I would probably agree with that. I think,
Well, there's an LLC or a S corp or something that's
501(c), dude.
collecting money.
You know they're not paying taxes.
Right.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, I guess.
I
yeah,
mean, who
whatever.
pays taxes on something like that?
I
No
don't
one.
know, but the idea is there's a business structure
Yeah.
out there where people
Absolutely.
can donate money to. Does anybody know where the money is going, or
Something blue.
Yeah, Act Blue.
Back blue. Yeah.
Back
and it-
blue.
I don't know
It's
what
a
that
funnel
Act
for
Blue.
the Democrat.
Act Blue. Basically, if you
Oh,
donate
Act
anything
Blue.
to any democratic movement, it goes
Oh,
into Act
I thought you guys said back blue, and I was thinking that was like the police thing,
Yeah.
the pro police.
I was confused there too because I was like, "Oh, really? The Black
Interesting.
Lives Matter is donating to back the blue?"
just
That-
just circular, dude. It's circular.
Yeah.
That's
Gotta have an enemy,
not the
and you
best
gotta make sure
marketing.
your enemy's well fed.
Well, donate to us while we, continue to fund our boogeyman or whatever. Oh
well,
dear.
and it is clever too because this is funny. You clicked on that. They have to check to see if you're going to DDoS them before you visit the website.
Oh, that's funny.
They must get a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
So it said scroll down about halfway. What are we looking for exactly?
Yeah, keep going. We're kind of looking here. Here are their tenets, and this is interesting. I thought because it's good marketing because who's going to disagree with the statement "Black Lives Matter"?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people.
If you say you disagree, yeah, that's true. And then oh, you're a racist. You don't think Black Lives Matter. But then when you scroll down and read what they actually stand for and are trying to promote, yeah, there's a lot to disagree with here. It's not just Black Lives Matter.
Does it
It's a whole
start
item.
here, Vin?
Sure.
We acknowledge, respect, and celebrate
Yeah, that'll do it.
differences and okay.
Differences and commonalities. So besides those two, what else is there? Because aren't they diametrically opposed? So if you accept both, then
That's the entire set.
Okay.
That's complete coverage.
yeah, yeah, okay, check.
So this is their stated values and core beliefs.
Okay. Did something jump out to you guys as objectionable or agreeable or
Well, there's this term that keeps popping up there in that second to last paragraph there. We are self-reflexive.
okay. I'll scroll down.
It says do the work. We are self-reflexive and do the work. That's a term that I've been hearing a lot of these days.
do the work.
Yeah.
Cisgender privilege.
Is that
and
kind of a
uplift.
loaded term? What do you mean do the work?
I think so, but I don't exactly know what it means yet. It's just showing up in the news and here.
Man,
it's just
that paragraph is a whole lot of nothing.
Oh, here, I'll read it for us. We are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folk, especially black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence.
oh. So when you say you like Black Lives Matter and you support them, here you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what's so objectionable about that, though.
Dismantling cisgender privilege. What is that?
So, so that's where I could see there could be some disagreement because
Also, what does that have to do with Black Lives Matter? Sorry to interrupt.
because they're talking about black trans folks specifically, people that are black and that are disproportionately hurt and killed, etc., than white trans lady men people.
Do we have stats on that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure those are out there. I didn't look them up prior
Okay.
to the stat, but
So
Yeah.
would Black Lives Matter be against white trans people?
against
All right.
white trans people, I don't think they're against.
Maybe not against. Yeah, that was a bad word. I don't.
I think their focus is on the black trans people who they are claiming are disproportionately impacted.
Well, right here we have a statement of what they're trying to dismantle. Cisgender privilege, whatever that is. I'm a cis guy. I don't think I'm particularly privileged, but they're trying to dismantle me.
Well, they're
Dismantle.
trying to dismantle the idea that as a cis person, you're quote unquote normal, and that people that are trans are quote unquote weird.
I thought you were going to use the term abnormal, and that is objectively true. Like trans people are objectively abnormal as far as statistics. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean the privilege thing. Like, you hear that come up in a variety of different ways. You know, here we're talking cisgender privilege. We've all heard about
Racial
white,
privilege.
yeah, like white privilege, etc. And I guess in my mind, always the area for litigation is, you know, like probably there. Let's first of all establish the claim in the first place before we move on to the next thing. Because one thing that has always kind of made me take a step back when I start hearing about privilege, I guess, is what is offered up, at least in my own anecdotal experience, is stuff that I would attribute to just more like majority privilege. You know what I mean? It really wouldn't be assignable to some characteristic about a person necessarily. It's just by sort of virtue of being part of a larger group. So, you know, the same way that you might have Japanese privilege in Japan,
sure,
you know.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think, you know, you can drill that down into the globalism thing, right? That, you know, there's a whole bunch of every colored people everywhere in most places. I mean, not everywhere, though.
Mhm.
You know, there's some places where you go, like UAE or something, overwhelmingly Arab.
Yep.
You don't see a lot of Norwegian folk or, you know, Asian guys hanging out in UAE
right.
or Jewish people,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, you know. But by and large, most first world countries are getting more and more heterogeneous.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. That's a fun one.
That's a good word.
Yeah,
Big words.
I like big words. Jim said zeitgeist earlier.
Yeah, that's a good
one,
word. I think that's German, I'm sure, isn't it? Does it?
Sounds German.
It translates
Sounds
to
quite German.
like spirit of the time or something. I feel like that's kind of what it means.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems
So,
accurate.
It's also a terrible movie. It's about like the 9/11
Oh,
inside
yeah.
job stuff.
I never saw it. I remember hearing about it.
Yeah.
Speaking
I
of,
think they have like 3 of them now.
oh gosh.
Don't waste your time.
well, so do you guys what do you think cisgender privilege would mean? Is it just the
I don't
normal
know.
abnormal conversation, or
To me, I think
Perhaps.
I think it probably is. I think there's thoughts, and I don't know, again, the statistics that, you know, somebody who is cisgender would have a better job at a job, easier time at a job interview, for example, in-person job interview, than somebody who does the trans thing. Things of that nature. And I think that ease is what the whole conversation is about when they talk about privilege, is that it's easier to be a white cisgender male guy than it is to be somebody that is one of the other. And we keep making people the other than othering them. I heard that. Oh, look at Kyle. He's so triggered. when I love using that. I've heard that used as a verb recently. Othering
to
Yes.
other
people
somebody?
to other somebody.
Right.
Then I think that's where the major arguments that I've heard have come from.
Well,
Well,
go
I'd
ahead,
argue
Kyle.
it's almost geographical as regarding your cisgender privilege. Like, if you have a transgender person in Seattle or Portland, I'd argue that they're probably going to be treated just as well, or if not better, than straight white person. Now, obviously, things are going to be different, maybe in places like Mississippi or Louisiana. or something
Estherville.
like
or Lake.
Lake.
No,
Lake
we
is like
accept all.
99% white.
Lake is white, conservative, Republican,
Republican.
Christian. Okay,
Yeah. As reported by Vox.
with
That's
stats.
that's like the first time I've been actually triggered in a long time. that torqued me off. Because that dude, that Dave Torsen guy, he's a part of the community. Like, should be building it up, but I feel like, whatever.
Yeah.
Virtue signaling.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, Kyle, you make kind of an interesting point that,
Yeah.
like, depending on perhaps what part of the United States you're in, you'd have a totally different trans experience, I guess. That's certainly
Yeah,
true.
well,
Which I think is absolutely true.
Just,
Yeah.
just think about it like you're wearing a T-shirt. You have a T-shirt that says "I'm cisgender and white," and then another person next to you is wearing a T-shirt that says "I'm transgender. I'm a transgender woman" or something. You walk down the street in Seattle and Portland. Which person do you think is going to be treated better compared
People will
to?
bow and kiss your feet.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
the
compared
trans
to
person.
like Little Rock, Arkansas, or something. So I don't think these statutes or these commandments are all encompassing everywhere.
Statutes. They're not. They're not proposing laws, man.
Well, kind of.
Where
Well,
If you elect some of these people into Congress, they will.
these people? Are you othering them?
Yeah. Well, it's hard because you don't know who those people actually are because there's
Yeah.
no organization.
Well,
so I'm
there-
curious. It's something that Andy said, which is the job interview example.
Yeah.
What do you mean by, like, do you have an example of that? Because I'm not sure what that looks like.
I don't. I think that,
Even a hypothetical.
so hypothetically, Polaris over in the Lake is hiring for someone to work on the line. And Joe Dan from Esterville is like, hey, I'm on a good job over at Polaris. I'm going to get me an Indian motorcycle on the cheap. Goes and applies. Interviews just fine. And then, Jenny, who is formerly Tyler and is transitioning, identifies as transgender, also from Esterville, wants a job at Polaris. Do you think the good old boys at the factory are going to? Do you think that interview is going to go the same way? When
How
do you think it would?
how will the fact that that person is trans manifest itself?
You can tell.
Oh, okay. See,
So
What-
now we're arguing: is it passable or not?
exactly. Yes, that's where I thought this argument would go.
because isn't it true that, I mean, you can be trans and not display it? Or you could have, you could identify as a different gender from what you would manifest. But like the
Probably.
litmus test, I think, is what you actually identify as, not necessarily what you present. You know what I mean?
Right.
So-
So if I'm obviously a man and walk in with my resume that states that I am a female, that would be like, if I was an employer, I would look at that as an error on your resume and not a statement of trans or non-trans.
I don't have a resume with my gender on it.
I'm going to put that number one, I think, on everything going forward. I get what you're saying, though, Andy. Like, so, like, let's pretend it's ma'am lady guy walking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A situation like that. Yeah, I mean,
it's not
I
gonna.
think-
It's not gonna go as easy for them.
right, and
But should it? I mean, is that?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because they're loud and boisterous and they're demanding that you refer to that person as ma'am? Because if that's the case, I don't want to hire them because they're rude and loud.
Well-
Okay, so let's say they're not rude and loud. Let's say they're like actually identify as a woman. You being a reasonable person, maybe. Do you think a factory floor manager? And this might be a gross generalization. Maybe I'm completely off base here, but I don't think that those interviews are going to go the same way.
But my point is, why would it be an issue? Why would it come up? Why would that person have the opportunity to discriminate?
So if a dude comes in dressed in traditional female attire,
An obvious man coming in dressing as a woman.
a biological man that identifies as a woman dressed in female attire, pantsuit
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, so you walk in, you got a beard, you're wearing a moo-moo.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then
so then I would put that in the same category as like somebody all tatted up or somebody with 50 piercings in their face. Like, it's distracting.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, so Andy, are you kind of talking more about the interview itself, or you would maybe
If they get the job.
So
or
okay,
not.
so if they get the job,
Yeah, what
then-
comes out of that interview,
Okay.
too. Because I feel in a lot of places in the country that that person would not be hired all things else equal.
Mm-hmm.
I think
But for what reason?
because they're trans, and that is the
Yep.
privilege.
Okay, so I would make this analogous to like if I was a guy who had 50 piercings in my face and not being hired because I have too many piercings.
Yeah, but-
is that non-piercing privilege?
No, because piercings are different than somebody who identifies as a different gender, dude. That's people
But
with piercings
it's-
in their face are not a protected class in this country.
But it manifests the same. It's like a personal outward appearance that is distracting to a person if you're like interacting with the public, for example.
So, I think that's a false analogy. I don't know. That doesn't pass the smell test to me.
Yeah, as I was sat and listened to this, my thought process, like, how would this hypothetical play out in my thought about the realistic world? I mean, take the bearded moo individual walking in. I feel like the HR people's antennas would start going up and they'd say, oh shit, we really have to be like super accommodating in this
Right.
job interview. And I think, how that interview would play out exactly would be, I mean, I don't know if the gender stuff would come up, but I think they, to Andy's point, they might look to not hire based on some other criterion potentially if they didn't feel like that person was going to fit in the company. You know what I mean? Turn the moo bearded person loose with all the good old boys on the
Line.
factory
Yeah.
floor or whatever like that. I mean, I could see that, I guess, but
And I think that's what these type things and the LGBTQ plus groups that there are, that's what they're referring to as the cisgender privilege. Is that difference?
So my ability as a bearded dude to wear a dress into a job interview and be accepted like any other person, like that's what you're going for?
So take
As far
away
as
the
you're
beard.
dismantling?
Take away the beard. A
Dude,
guy
that-
a guy who's dressed up like a girl. Like
That's what we're fighting for here. The ability to wear a dress and do a job interview in similar situations
that's what
without
that's what they
discrimination.
are. They want to.
What?
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody. That's where we are in society.
Well, I mean,
Well-
just because this is all you guys always seem to get triggered about doesn't mean like this is not the only thing going on. It's something that's getting a lot of focus right now. But I mean, yes, it's a concern for a group in the U.S.
Well, I think,
Then we're in a brilliant place in our country right now where this is our sole focus, or our main focus.
Our sole focus. This
Not
isn't
our
our
sole
main
focus,
focus.
but one of our biggest focuses. BLM seems to be our country's sole focus right now, and they're dedicated to dismantling.
Dude, besides, I haven't seen
privilege.
anything about BLM for a month or two on any of the news feeds that I've watched.
What are you looking at?
Clearly, all the leftist propaganda that just hypes BLM all day.
yeah.
well, I think probably one of the more disturbing paragraphs is the one that we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement
Yeah.
by supporting each
I
other.
was
That one-
hoping we were going to shift to that here pretty soon. We were kind of stalling out on the moo bearded thing. So yeah, we disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and, quote, villages that collectively care for one another, especially our
We're
children.
good at job.
What's that, Kyle?
I said that worked real well at CHOP.
The Chaz.
Chaz or yeah,
Chaz.
whatever.
So
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
the nuclear family structure. So first of all, it's not. Where's it a requirement? I've never heard of that before.
Obviously, it's not.
And well, yeah. I mean, that's just self-evident, at least in the Western world. But I don't really accept the premise that the nuclear family is a Western thing either, though. I mean, mom, dad, baby is kind of a species thing.
Mm-hmm. I tend to agree.
Yeah.
You
Why
know?
why is it needing of disruption? We should be doing the opposite, in my opinion.
Jim, can you scroll up like one line?
Yes.
Right there, that beginning of that paragraph. We make our spaces family friendly. Is this not a contradiction?
Yeah.
Oh,
But we-
yeah. Yeah, we make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work, quote, double shifts so they can mother in private even as they participate in public justice work.
Then end the welfare system so that fathers can actually be in the homes with them.
Yeah, it's not incentivized to not have a dad there.
No
Crazy.
man about the house. He's-
So this is we won't have an exact answer, obviously, but do you think that a high percentage of people that say they support BLM would understand these elements and stuff that we're talking about here? Is that kind of what you were wondering?
That's my overarching thesis, I think, is like when people say, yes, Black Lives Matter, do they mean like just the generic statement of Black Lives Matter, or do they really fully embrace their core tenets as outlined here?
I don't know how many people have ever read these core tenets. I mean, I haven't.
That's
Maybe they should.
Yeah.
Why? I mean,
So they know what they say they're supporting. That's why.
so I'm supporting the fact that Black Lives Matter. Do I support
would
the
too.
organization?
That's the question.
Some of it. I don't agree 100% with any organization. Very few. Very, very few.
How many people have potentially donated money that maybe wouldn't have looked into this? And, I mean,
I don't know. If I'm donating money, I'm going to look into things.
Right.
I feel like.
and I feel like I'd hope a lot of people would, I guess, but I don't have a whole lot of faith that they would necessarily. And that's kind of scary, I
Yeah.
mean, there seems to be some stuff like subtext here to some of this stuff that's very collectivist and very kind of, perhaps
Well,
kind of a
it's
Marxist
certainly more.
theme to it, but yeah, it's interesting.
It's definitely deeper and goes much deeper than just the statement Black Lives Matter. Like, this is so much more than just saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they're kind of just outlining how they do their events in this document to me.
Disrupting the nuclear family is how they do their events.
No, like right above it where it talks about family-friendly environments. So they don't want a
And
bunch of cursing and a bunch of violence at their rally during the
Well,
day.
then they need to like attend their own rallies or something.
Is there a lot of violence at Black Lives Matter rallies?
There appears to be there's some sort of association, maybe erroneously, between BLM and Antifa and other groups, but I don't know what that is.
Well, so that's a whole other can of worms. So, I mean, there's all sorts of footage and, evidence of property damage and looting, rioting, and stuff that's taken place pretty much since the George Floyd thing happened, which has been several months ago at this
Yeah.
juncture.
Have you
And
guys seen the full video of that?
the extended body cam stuff? Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I would play it otherwise, but I'm concerned we'll get kicked off of YouTube yet again.
Man.
They
From a
seem to like
ban.
to kick us out.
It's because
But-
hot button.
But right, I mean, like, so then the analysis goes into, okay, who is responsible for the damage here, and to what extent, and how can we attribute this to an organization or not, or whatever, it's hard to figure that stuff out.
It really is.
Yep. Do you guys want to move on, or was there more to hit on this?
I just don't think we've ever actually talked about them before, this movement. So
Yeah, well, it's certainly interesting. I'd heard about these kind of tenets and commandments or whatever that they've got, their manifesto thing before, but I hadn't really taken the time to actually take a look at it. But it's interesting. I mean, disrupting the nuclear family seems like a pretty lofty goal to me.
Well, I didn't think it's trying to disrupting. Rereading that, is it saying that the nuclear family should not exist, or is it saying that we want to disrupt the requirement of a nuclear family, such that communities should help raise children?
Well, if the charitable reading is what we're supposed to take from that, then I don't know if they are necessarily offering something that really needs to be said, because I don't believe that their thing that they're arguing against exists in the way that they think it does, because I don't think there is a requirement of a nuclear family, and I do think that extended families in quote villages
And I agree with
help
you.
raise children.
And I agree with you. I just think that it needs to be said, but I don't
Right.
think it's saying that there should be no nuclear families.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Maybe we can get somebody that's a representative to appear on the podcast sometime. That would be kind of neat.
yeah, talk to 4 white guys.
Well, I mean, we're probably the ones that need the most convincing, huh?
Oh yeah, we need to be educated.
Yeah, we got to do the work, Kevin.
Yeah, exactly.
just do the work.
guys.
We'll figure it out. So what's this cuties business?
You guys hear about this?
Dude, I totally did. I was reading about it earlier today.
Oh,
It's bad.
It's bad.
it's not the oranges. It has
No.
nothing to do with fruit.
No, not the delicious clementines.
Yeah.
It's about the weird.
Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Il se passe quoi là? Vous faisiez quoi à la gare? On va danser au concours. Je danse avec vous. Quoi?
So what is this? I'm
It's a Netflix original.
Netflix. So okay, a bunch of like preteen girls dancing
Tweens.
around.
They're like 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was a movie poster that has since been retracted of these girls like in scantily clad attire getting ready for their dance tournament, which
Okay.
apparently has an emphasis on the act of twerking.
Okay. So yeah, it's
So the idea and the outrage is that this movie promotes underage girls twerking and acting sexual.
okay.
Well, I think, and then the further extension of that is the folks that are on Facebook screaming about how we can't, walk and chew gum at the same time. That no one's talking about how it's bad when children get abducted and sold into sex slavery. And I agree, it's probably doesn't get as much media play as it should, but things are, why aren't we doing something about it more? I tend to agree.
Yeah, has there been like a spark for that? Because I've seen what you're describing, and I don't know where that came from. Like, is that a QAnon thing?
It was a resurgence of the Q stuff, but then it was also anti-mask people saying how that this is a big globalist plot to get everyone to wear masks so it's easier to steal children. And because you don't know if children have duct tape on their mouths if they have a mask on, and really are trying
I've never
to get
heard that. That's crazy.
Dude, I swear to God, this is the shit that I see on the Facebook. It's
But you don't
Makes
see any
perfect
violent
sense.
BLM protests.
no BLM protests. I don't, man.
All right.
Show
Anyway.
me. Show me.
Oh, we can certainly send them back and forth in our little text chat.
Yeah.
At 7 a.m.
No, I'm not awake. I don't have kids.
Oh, mais les gens t'ont grave kiffé que tu vois tous les...
So this is like a French show, I
Yes.
guess. Huh?
Is that
Okay.
French? I was wondering what they were speaking.
Right.
Les likes qu'on a eu?
Vous savez où passe l'esprit du mal? Ce sont ces femmes dénudées.
Pour le mariage de ton père. Regarde comment elle te va. Tu es une femme maintenant.
T'étais où là? T'as foutu quoi? J'étais en retard. En retard? Je suis désolée, Me dis pas. Non, tu l'as volé? Oh la tête!
Major drama.
I don't know, man. I went to one dance. What do they call those? The dance things that last 4 hours.
Okay.
Recital.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And I was in high school, and I was uncomfortable at some of the dances they made those little boogers do. When they
Oh, sure.
and I'm just like, I don't know. I guess it goes with the territory,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well, I remember being in high school and the dance team would
oh
dance
yeah,
at every single opportunity, but ball game or pep rally or whatever.
and they'd be doing the body rolling,
Right.
And
And the shaking and the whatever. And I mean, when you're also 16, it's less of a big deal, I guess. But
until you're a senior and you see the little freshmen, and you're like,
Right.
I'm going to jail.
well, I don't know. If this came across my thing, I would never even click on it, I guess.
Well, I think didn't it get canceled, Kev?
I don't know that it got canceled. I know that the movie poster got redesigned.
Okay. There was
Um,
a big thing on Facebook. Maybe it was Facebook or Reddit, one of the others, where I was reading about this.
Interesting.
Foreign films are weird.
Yeah.
They are, but I gotta say, like, just watching this official trailer, maybe we should just play it out and then discuss. But like, so far, I don't see anything overly.
Yeah,
crazy.
I was
Am I wrong?
That was why I wanted to stop and
haven't-
see, because
yeah.
I was getting kind of perplexed. It's like, what exactly is the controversy here? But
Yeah.
Déglingue, j'y crois pas!
À quoi tu joues là, ami? Qui es-tu, ami?
So she a little Muslim girl
Laisse couler
too?
l'eau, ma chérie.
Looks
Dépêchez
like
sa
it.
face avec.
Vous avez quel âge?
On a 14.
All right. If that's where we're going, then yeah, I can see
mm-hmm.
the complaints.
Sure. Huh, cuties. Okay. Well, let's figure out when it releases so I can not turn on my phone.
September
that day.
9th.
Yeah, okay.
What's the top comment, Jim?
Oh yeah, but this is gonna be good. Let's dig
11-year-old,
into it.
yeah, so here's a description. 11-year-old Amy starts to rebel against her conservative family's traditions when she becomes fascinated with a free-spirited dance crew. FBI says, don't worry, guys. Those who like this video will be put on our watch list.
A stripper model. We got stripper models in the second one.
Yeah.
This is why teenagers and preteens these days think they have to look like a stripper model to be pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
combine this with the latest hit song from Cardi B.
Oh, yeah. That's,
A pretty complete picture.
yep.
Oh man, that's bad.
Conservatives have been clutching their pearls from coast to coast.
Cool.
of Cardi B.
Came
huh?
here just to dislike. Didn't even watch.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Okay. Unpregnant.
Haven't
What do we
seen
got
this
here?
This one. I thought this was interesting.
Fine, you're fine.
The HBO Max.
Condom, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Hey, dude.
I've got this thing.
Okay. HBO, huh? Alrighty.
If a young woman needs a procedure, is that possible? Where's the closest facility? There's an Albuquerque in Missouri? The law won't let me get one without my parents knowing. I know we're not close anymore.
True.
And I'm the last person that you want to help.
Accurate.
But I need your help, and I don't have anywhere else to go.
Go where?
To get the thing, the procedure.
So you're hiding this from your man
A smush motion.
and your Jesus freak parents.
Yeah.
And you thought, why not ask Bailey Butler to drive me hundreds of miles? Because she probably doesn't have anything to do anyway.
Kind of, yes.
Bailey! Bailey, come on!
I'm just messing with you. You're right, I do not have anything going on.
I thought you drove a Camry.
So what's your take so far?
Well, what do you guys think it's about?
Clearly, they're trying to get this girl an abortion.
Going to get a smush
I
motion.
guess. I mean-
Glorifying driving across the state or whatever to get the procedure.
I mean,
Yeah.
glorifying or highlighting the necessity to drive that far.
This looks kind of fun to me. I don't know. Looks like they're going on a fun-filled adventure.
Yeah, dude.
The
It's
promised land.
just a nice little weekend.
Yeah. It's a little
Yep.
getaway with the
Get-
girls.
we
Little
Little
getaway
getaway.
with the gals.
Get away, get a bobo. See if you have enough time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Get out the coat hanger. Oh,
Yes. Well, one thing that stood out to me is when she said, "Oh, is there an Albuquerque in Missouri or something like that?"
Huh.
You know,
Missouri, I'd imagine you'd have to go to KC or St. Louis.
yeah, I guess I don't know. That seemed a little hyperbolic to me. I mean, the inference there is I have to drive all the way to Albuquerque,
New Mexico.
New Mexico, right? And
I think there's
But-
one in Mississippi or Alabama. I think there's one.
could be. Yeah, I don't.
Well, SCOTUS just had a big undue burden.
Right. Yeah, that was
ruling.
a interesting judicial opinion. Yeah, I think we talked about that. Maybe
We touched on it a little.
touched on it last time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
should have.
Because we were talking Gorsuch versus Roberts. Versus
Right.
What's an originalist and
Yeah. Gorsuch wrote the opinion on that abortion thing and made a textual argument, which the conservative pundits had a problem with because,
he's
you
supposed
know,
to be there.
well, yeah, I mean, the conservative position on Roe v. Wade to be,
And
to
Roe v.
begin
Wade's
with
Wade's bad law. I think most people agree that Roe v. Wade's a thinly held decision that could easily be overturned
Yeah, well,
just because of the opinion.
the court doesn't like turning itself over. I mean, so
True.
the abortion folks could probably rest relatively easy on that fact. But, yeah, I mean, anytime that you go out, when you start to talk about fundamental rights that are not explicit, you're getting
It's
like,
a can of worms.
well, yeah, I mean, you're getting into tenuous constitutional territory, but we're tangenting here. So,
that's good.
was there anything more on this preview that was like what else stood out to you guys? I noticed they showed a picture of the Pope there.
It's just an interesting sign of the times now that we have movies like glorifying this, in my view, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting that this is now entertainment. I don't know. I kind of agree with you, Kevy. It's definitely a interesting plot, I guess, to have a movie revolve around.
Trying to normalize it maybe and just turn it into a kooky adventure.
Yeah.
Well, I remember talking about this with you once, Kevin, but I think the prior position on being pro-choice was that, or at least the bumper sticker reduction of it was abortion should be safe and rare, and was there another regulated?
I think it wasn't it Clinton who said safe, legal, and rare?
Safe, legal, and rare.
Safe, legal, and rare. But
Something like that.
I think you also got to add accessible in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think but I guess that's also in the legal standpoint.
Sure.
That it's something that can be done.
Well, so anyways, I bring that up to say, okay, well, if it was, the kind of the sentiment about it was, this is a necessary thing, but we, want to carve out a opportunity for people to get it safely, legally, rarely,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe to your point a little, Kevin, here it's kind of turned into subject matter for like a coming of age teen movie.
Yeah, like a bar mitzvah or a quinceañera. Here's the white girl version.
Right. So somehow we've morphed from safe, legal, and rare
The
to
traveling abortions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that kind of your thought process behind it, or?
Yeah, I had nothing more than just a sign of the times,
Mm-hmm.
and how maybe it's the case that we've run out of things to like make movies about too.
Yeah. Now there's a good subject.
Dude, have they
everything
ever
remade.
got to reboot?
Reboot everything.
Reboot
It's
the
awful.
world.
Well, and then I mean, what of the overall amount of superhero movies that there are in total, what percentage are like good to excellent, would you say?
I hate superhero movies now.
I mean, for me, it's a significant minority percentage, like 15% are good to
Yeah.
excellent, I would say.
Good to excellent. Yeah, I'm probably a little higher than that.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of real bad, I don't think there's a ton.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
like,
bell curve for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, for me, like the vast majority fall into the watchable, entertaining. I'm not gonna rewatch this.
Yeah,
kind
Well,
of.
isn't that the idea? Like
Yes.
it's formulaic. It's watch once. It's throw
Yeah.
away. Candy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw on Reddit before I came over here. There's another Batman coming out
Oh
with
man,
Robert Pattinson of Twilight fame
Woo!
he's gonna be
as the
he's
Batman.
gonna be the Batman. Okay. Will he be a vampire Batman or?
the screenshot, the shot they have of it, he looks just like that's what he looks like. He looks like a little emo kid, like in
Yeah.
a courtroom, looking all dark and broody.
Vampire Batman. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to top the Christian Bale Batman, I think, but
The Dark Knight. That's the only superhero movie I mildly enjoyed.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I was also watching it outside in the Pinterest in Iowa City, so that probably had something to do with it.
I did a rewatch of which the one with Bane, the third one.
Yes.
I rewatched that one the other night. It was on. It's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christopher Nolan doesn't make crappy movies.
Yeah.
He's got a new one coming out, Tenet.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
That's getting good reviews. So
Are they to the point where new movies are in the theaters yet, or not?
I think
Not
they're
here.
still kicking them back for the
Ah.
most part.
Ugh, awful.
Driving tonight is Goonies and Gremlins.
Yeah, that's old school.
God, dude, I can't wait to watch Gremlins. 4-year-old Andy, the neighbor kids made me watch it when I was like 4 or 5. No joke.
Scarred
Just
for
come on.
life.
Oh, dude.
After
It was
the
that,
Gremlins.
and it was Children of the Corn. My
Oh.
parents were gone for the weekend, and I
Ooh.
was staying with the neighbors.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Children of the Corn
Yeah.
is scary.
4 or 5-year-old watching a
So-
thing about Children of the Corn. I was terrified the next time we went out to Thorson because it was a corn. It was
Corn
it was a
everywhere.
corn year, and you could walk right up to the edge of it. I thought like Mordecai was gonna come out with a sickle and hit me in the eyeball.
We had a freaking corn field in our backyard. I didn't go near those movies.
No.
No doubt.
Cornfields are scary, man.
Yeah. Well, was there more here, Vin, or
No, you got the gist of
we
it.
got the gist of it? Alrighty. This was
Here's
interesting.
a fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that. Tell us about it, Vin.
You guys want to? We could even do this live if you want an interactive podcast. apparently during one of the updates for iPhone and Android, they snuck in a little feature, whatever you want to call it, where it's like a COVID tracking device. And on the screen here are kind of some instructions on how to do it. I checked on my iPhone; it's definitely there. I don't have an Android phone, but I think some of you guys.
I did it.
do.
It's there.
I do, yeah. It's called
Is it off?
COVID-19 exposure notifications. Off.
Yeah. I think that what has to happen is you have to have another app like from the CDC or the WHO or whoever that would then go and tap into that and access that data that the iPhone provides. So as long as you don't have any of those third-party apps installed, I think you're good to go. Like if this bothers you and you don't like, sharing this type of information with app developers, you're safe if you don't have a third-party app installed.
But that's the next step,
Interesting, though.
right? I mean, you got the monkey on your back, and now you're not following the rules and stuff, and we can tell because we looked at the phone and yada yada yada.
Yep, this is yet another reason why I'm getting a dumb phone in my next phone. I am getting a flip phone.
When's that happening?
Enjoy, bro.
Around Easter is when our contract is up.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's not going to turn into more of a thing if people are.
Nope.
I mean, maybe not, but I would think the more Orwellian the phone tracking stuff gets, the more likely it would be that people would object to that and not want to do it. But
I think people just don't care. I mean, we've had GPS chips in our phones since like the early 2000s. They've been able to triangulate cell phones since forever. It's something that the populace, I think, knows about and has just decided, well, I'd rather have this.
Yeah, that's concerning though. I mean,
I'd rather have my refrigerator tell me when I'm out of milk and advertise milk to me.
There are people that would. Those smart
know,
fridges, those
weird.
are weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe when you phrase it to people like, well, first of all, I think a lot of people just aren't paying any attention and don't think about it like that, and it just never even occurs to them. And they view it, when the presentation is, oh, here's a new convenience for you,
Yeah.
Then it's, oh, great, boy, it's awesome being alive in 2020. But then, for those of us who are sort of analyzing it instead, you are a little more concerned, or you feel like it's an intrusion into your privacy and so on and so forth.
And it comes at a cost. The price is your data and your privacy. And it's, are you willing to trade that for a refrigerator that tells you when you need more asparagus?
Exactly. It's a trade-off.
I don't know. I don't know where my data is going and what databases it's ending up in. I don't know what the code looks like.
I would love to see my data sometime.
No one wants to see my data.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not.
Some weird late night clicking, Jimbo.
Right, could be. Well, that's just it. I'd be pretty humorous, I think. Yeah. Well, and this tying into the COVID stuff. I mean, I hear horror stories out of China all the time that there's like social currency, and it's like, oh no, you jaywalked and now you've been reduced 10 points, and you aren't cool anymore. Well, all that kind of stuff.
Have you watched any of the Black Mirror series?
Yeah.
Dude, Black Mirror has some great like social commentary about technology integration and like how it can be used as just like, whew. I recommend. Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah.
Watched all.
There was an article on CNN today about how Facebook has this new AI tech that they're promoting where they want you to basically like trace your house and tell them where all your chairs are and where your table is and where your couch is, so that they can create like smart robots that avoid said obstacles and get smarter.
Jesus.
Don't they already have those with Roombas?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little dumber. But.
Sounds to me like map your house out ahead of time when the commandos come in and shoot you.
No knocker raid ya.
You were exactly.
Give you the no knocker
That
at
way they
3
won't
a.m.
trip over a couch or something.
Shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of top-down Orwellian stuff, Iowa State got some stuff going on here with the COVID that I found a couple of clips from. So I was hoping we could watch this real quick if you guys are ready to move on.
I love ripping
Sure.
on Iowa State.
So yeah, the deal here is criticism about partying in Ames. So
This is just one of the many images making its rounds on social media, being shared by people living in Ames concerned about the spread of the coronavirus, and they're not alone.
Why is this filled with a potato?
why is it filled with and then why is the newscaster like have marbles in her mouth? Listen to this.
Many images making its rounds on social media, being shared by people living in Ames concerned about the spread of the coronavirus, and they're not alone.
Breaking news story, Martha.
Absolutely feeling unsafe to go back to school.
Priyanka Krishnan is a PhD student in her 6th year at Iowa State. She says parties before the start of the year are common, but what she saw here during her Saturday morning drive,
Literally every house.
left her disappointed.
There were like a bunch of people just
Like she just
walking
got her
on the
wisdom teeth out.
Yeah,
Maybe she did.
just gauze.
I remember that. Couldn't eat popcorn for a couple of days.
And you get the dry
And
socket.
the dry sockets. Yeah, it's awful.
streets and no masks, nothing, and no social distancing.
Iowa State has worked hard on protecting its students. Of the 6,500 students tested before moving into residence halls since July 31st, 141 have tested positive. In a statement sent to KCCI Sunday, the university said if students want to complete the fall semester on campus, ignoring safety and health policies must stop.
People are also affected outside of the university. People who work in the dining halls, people who are grocery shopping, just the whole community. It's a danger to everyone.
Oliver.
Yeah. Good
I think
grief.
her speech got worse as the time went on. It sounded like maybe her tongue was swelling. Maybe she ate a raspberry or something.
Yeah, it's like a allergy thing. She needs an EpiPen. Tongue swelling up. So, anyways, people are partying and college kids are college kidding. And
Well, and didn't the
just
president come out and say and threaten up to expulsion?
so that's my next clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, whatever. People are gonna party.
Sunday looked a lot different than the day before, with campus town significantly more empty. But for Oliver Chen, who's lived in Ames for 15 years, this moment of quiet isn't enough to make him feel his city is safe. It's why he recorded these videos on his own and posted them to bring awareness with one plea for other Ames residents.
Act to contact city officials.
In
What a
Ames,
great video.
Yeah, dude, I'm not seeing any big parties on his video that he
What-
you could go on
People
Snapchat
walking
and see
around.
way bigger ones.
So both of these people that they've interviewed have taken it upon themselves to go around and videotape
narcs.
narc on, I'm concerned with coronavirus and people
Yeah, they
are
just didn't get
partying.
invited
And,
to parties.
I guess.
Oliver Chen's not going to many parties, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not.
Oliver.
They kind of both look like killjoys, both those kids that they interviewed. But I mean, come on! Like, at what juncture are you just gonna say, "Well, we have to accept the risk here, whatever it might be. If it gets out of hand, I guess we'll, put the brakes on or something." But
Yeah.
I mean, or don't accept the risk and just stay home. Like at Iowa Lakes, there's an option. If you want to come to campus and go to your classes, like there's a thing for that. And if you don't, you can stay home. Like nobody's forcing you to do anything here. If it scares you to death, as I heard one faculty member say on a meeting the other day, they said they were scared to death to come back to work. Well, teach remote then. That's an option for you, and you should take it. But nobody's forcing anybody to do anything.
Except Kyle Grams.
Yeah, of course. You can't have fans in his classroom because it might spread the COVID.
But you can have a window open, right?
With a fan in the window.
You can have, so you can have a fan in the window.
Yes.
Pointed in or out?
Good question.
Blowing the
hot air
outside air in.
Oh.
Yeah, hot
So you're gonna bring in the COVID.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, because I mean,
blowing
somebody
it
could.
out, I could see.
Yeah.
Blowing it in,
It's-
there's no difference than it's sitting by a window than it's sitting in the front of the classroom.
Yeah.
I mean, what if
I don't know. I just.
what
I
if
don't know.
somebody sneezes over at Casey's? Teets. Yeah, Teets will sneeze.
And
at
he'll
Casey's.
cough.
Yeah, he'll cough.
Let's be real.
The COVID will float over to your classroom,
Yeah. It'll teleport in.
land in your nostril.
Or your eye. I think you need goggles, Kyle.
Yeah.
I think the Darth Vader suit it's got to be
the
worked
only
into the
way.
plan. Yeah,
I think a Darth Vader
only way
mask
else
could be
nice it
killer.
is.
I think you should have one for court, Jim.
I should get a
A
Darth
black
Vader.
Darth Vader.
See if that would count as my
COVID
face
mask.
shield.
Yeah. Your Honor.
Dismiss this case. So yeah, this is to
Breaking
Spurgeon's
news at
point
5.
here.
Iowa State University is now requiring students to wear face coverings at all gatherings on and off campus. This is part of the school's new COVID-19 safety.
Off campus.
Yeah, okay.
If you're an Iowa State student and you gather anywhere, you have to have a mask on.
Policy.
Jeez.
Iowa State President Wendy Winterstein announced the new guidelines in an email to students this afternoon. The guidelines also state that students must use social distancing during gatherings. The email said in part, quote, students who engage in irresponsible behavior, including attending large gatherings or parties that violate physical distancing and face covering rules, will be subject to university discipline and could lead to suspension, end quote.
Okay. So she clearly has small nose privilege because I have a massive nose and a deviated septum and glasses, and wearing a mask is very difficult for me.
Well, you're just gonna have to comply.
Is she trying to kill me? It's hard for me to breathe in a mask.
Comply or die.
Yeah.
Or
She has
comply and still die.
she
Let's
has
go.
nasal privilege.
So-
Nasal.
I can totally see, and I think is reasonable under the circumstances, Iowa State saying if you're attending in-person class or you're on campus, etc., where it's our jurisdiction, you have to wear a mask. Because,
Yep, up to you.
I mean, that's, yeah, right. That it's up to the student whether or not they actually want to attend school there.
Yep.
But now they're leveraging your studenthood, I guess, or your status as a student upon behavior outside of
And
Yeah, that's-
university.
and we'll see if that holds up.
Right.
You know, you could talk,
Yeah.
but you try bringing one of those, you're gonna get sued.
Well.
Like, you know, if Chancellor Merkel or Chancellor whatever her name is,
Witherspoon or
Witherspoon's a nurse here in
Witherstein,
town.
yeah.
or a doctor.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we'll see. If she goes to the mall and sees an Iowa State student, I know you.
Yeah.
You're gonna get in trouble now.
You
I mean,
gathered.
yeah, you're gathering.
Yeah,
okay.
if Oliver Chen gets some,
Yeah.
following people around with his cell phone and emails the video immediately to the overlord of pain.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, I know. I get that reference.
Yep. I don't know. I mean, this is way beyond the pale to me.
It seems pretty incredible.
So,
Have you seen pictures of Iowa City? Just looks like normal. Scummit and DC's just like so just packed.
Scum it.
yeah.
I mean, I didn't want to go there before COVID
No, you really don't
Yeah,
want to go
that-
there.
because there was too many people.
They're not gonna change. I mean,
No, though union is now no
Unless
longer
you
a thing.
completely give them the axe.
Union is
Really?
Union's gone. Yeah,
Fascinating.
I heard that. It was once at one time the biggest bar in the Big Ten, and the grossest too. Whew.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, this was troublesome to me. I mean, I thought this was ridiculous.
I hadn't even seen the like on or off campus.
Yeah.
I thought it was just an on campus thing, but it's
Well, and the on, like we say, the on campus thing is probably pretty reasonable. But whatever. Yeah. Shame on you, Iowa State.
Maybe you guys hit this. If you hit this last time, sorry, but with all of these procedures and like flow charts and if this mask required, if else not, like how long do you think this crap is going to be enforced? My prediction is a week or two.
Yeah. Yeah, we did talk about this a little bit. And I think Kyle's experiencing some of the same stuff at the school. There's just a laundry list of rules and procedure, and I've got it in for court stuff, and you know, I mean, already I would say things are getting more lax, you know, in my day to day with the rules and procedures and so forth. So
I was telling you guys in text that at my work, like after we came back from our work at home time, there was one person I saw in the hallway with a mask. No, nobody cares. Like the break room is still closed and we don't make coffee in the morning anymore, but that's the only change.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well,
hashtag private sector rules.
Word. Let's do our weekly wheeze segment. We got to bring that back.
Oh, good.
Let me switch to the appropriate thing, and we'll do our little jingle.
I hate these. Because she's my babe. Are you going to make me bend over? That's cool. Why did I even do this?
I just like the jingles. We should maybe just do a jingle show. So here's the weekly wheeze. This video is called Nectar of the Gods.
Make sure to watch till the end.
That's right, we will too. So, Mr. Eric has gotten into Bush.
He's copying the Bush Light guy.
You're just in time for the wheeze, Kyle.
Great.
Bush.
Just crushing a Bush Light.
And even his emoji guy is drinking.
Oh my God, that's cold. I didn't crack the second one because I've done 2 takes on the thing to try a. I'm ashamed. Oh, it's wet. Oh, it's wet.
Let's see that again. So I've been following Eric on the Bush kick here, and he managed to score some of the Bush Apple, whatever it was, that was like the seasonal thing, was real popular or whatever. So I don't know if that's what he's got here or if that's just a regular.
Oh, he's got 50 views and 1 thumbs down.
Oh yeah.
Who didn't like this?
Wasn't us.
Cancel it out.
Yeah, that's right. Damn straight. I don't know who would dislike this. This is awesome.
Great con.
Good old Eric.
I was watching his Snapchat today. I think he was going on a date.
Yeah, I do think Eric had a date today. I think I saw that as well.
Got a new lady friend?
I think so.
Oh boy.
Eric's playing the field.
Capital.
Yeah.
So
Project Ion fangirl responded to me because I just said "suck it, Beardsley" in the chat on the off chance that he dropped on.
Who is our? Have we figured out who the fangirl is yet or not?
Kevy.
Is it Kevy?
It's not me.
Vin.
It's not me.
We'll need to see your data.
Yeah, let's
make sure.
Let's meta his data.
Well, so
go near my data.
Gotta buy you a drink first.
I've got a SES segment, but it's not. I promise it's not. Like a hand drawing video about collaboration or something like that. It's more. It's more of a news segment situation. So,
as long as it's a situation, I think we're in.
Iowa Department of Education rejected.
So this is about the return to learn plan.
Yeah, this is good.
Des Moines Public Schools.
Yes.
Yep.
So they are angry at each other for a variety of reasons.
A little back. I don't know, maybe this is what the video is about, but Reynolds just came out with a statement that said if you are completely online as a district, all extracurricular activities must stop or whatever.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, and which I mean, it makes sense. Honestly,
yeah,
you can't be in school.
It's consistent.
It does.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not sure if that's what this video is about, but yeah, that's just within the last couple days that happens.
Mm-hmm. Kyle? What's the general sentiment among the teachers? Do you think that people want to go back to face, or is it okay?
We all want to be there. Well, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but myself and my close circle of teachers that I'm familiar with want to be in school. So
the other teachers in your pod.
My pod, yeah. Distance learning is just a pain in the butt.
Well, it seems like it would be way more cumbersome than...
Yeah, it's way more.
How would you know you've done no new learning?
Yeah. We'll have new learning online.
Look, share on your YouTube video. There's your learning.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, boys. We're not gonna pick on Kyle this episode. We got a nice SES segment.
Iowa Department of Education rejected the Des Moines Public Schools Return to Learn plan, but the district plans to fight the decision in court.
Yeah.
KCCI's Marcus McIntosh tells us what's next for the district and overwhelmed parents.
Stephen Stacy, the district plans early next week to file an injunction in Polk County District Court in efforts to get that denial overturned. Parents we spoke with today say they just want a final decision on what learning will look like in the Des Moines Public School District this fall.
And can you blame them?
No.
I mean, one way or the other. Like, let us know your plans before 2 days before class starts.
Getting jacked around big time.
I just think it's really frustrating. I didn't want to go virtual.
Des Moines Public School District 3rd.
So that kid wants to go to school.
Yeah, I think that's the majority of kids too.
If I were a kid, I would.
From what I've heard.
Yeah.
Really?
I think I would.
Yeah,
I can't see myself wanting to go back to school
and
as a kid.
That's
I'd be like,
what I thought originally too. But I guess if you think about it, these kids, these 13, 14, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that are like middle school, high school age, they've had like 2 summers off, essentially. I don't know. I guess I've never been in that spot at that age, so it's hard for me to imagine. But just based off intuition, you'd think, oh man, no kid wants to go back to school. But anecdotally, from what I've heard and kids I've talked to, they all want to come back.
Well, and for me, I think at that age, like, yeah, I understand now. It'd be easier to socialize with your friends. Every kid's got a phone and they can video chat and all that. But there's something about the social aspect of school that I think I would be missing as a kid, especially being an only child.
Right.
You know, I'd be sick of just hanging out with Dave and Jill and staring at a computer screen all day. I'd literally much rather have my butt in a desk and, you know, be goofing off behind the teacher's back during class and with my buddies.
Well,
as someone who is definitively antisocial, I'd just be like sitting playing Doom or Duke Nukem all day.
So I was interested. I had an intern over the summer who's in pharmacy school, and they they continued their learning and all that, you know, remotely. They had classes at their normal times that you'd Zoom into or whatever. And I'm like, how did you take tests? And apparently they had this software where they like scanned their surroundings with the webcam prior to, and that showed that you didn't have cheat sheets, you know, pinned up against the wall on behind the monitor and stuff like that. And your eyes, and it would like the software would know if you were looking at the test on the monitor, or if you were looking up and around the room or down too far and crap like that, and you'd get red flagged, and then they'd go review the video to try to prove if you were cheating. And I thought that was creepy as shit.
That's super creepy.
I didn't even have stuff like that for my boards. And I understand like boards were in a controlled, like I was in the Pearson testing center or whatever, where I couldn't even have a watch on.
Yep.
But, you know, I could sit there and like I'd take little mental health breaks and kick back for 3, 4, or 5 minutes and just kind of stretch out.
Right.
And stuff like that. But you couldn't even do that on this.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
I would not be a good distance learner.
No
I
doubt.
need people like, I need a professor up there that I feel like I'm going to get yelled at and embarrassed if I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, I mean,
because I have no self-control.
People do, you know, even for the antisocial among us, I think some amount of human-to-human contact is a good thing.
Yeah, I think I would have missed like music and, you know, band and stuff, some of the extracurricular.
Sure.
I don't know.
But even the kids want to go back to school. That's what I've picked up so far.
At least this little one.
A more noble generation, perhaps.
Yep.
Wants no part of all virtual learning, but Kendall does not get the final word. The Des Moines Public School District may not get the final word.
Yeah. But screw the kids. We're going computer.
You're going to get hashtag, Jim. You keep saying that.
Battle will rage on next week when the district files a
Good
lawsuit
point.
in Polk
I'm
County.
going to edit that
Court.
out later.
So it appears what happens when school starts in September remains to be seen. That uncertainty is not sitting well with Kendall's mother.
It's just exhausting. It's frustrating. I can't believe what
Who
our
is this?
superintendent and
Frustrated.
Is she a meme or something? Like she got leopard print, big
sunglasses.
That's a Karen if I've seen one.
Looks like a meme.
She is a meme.
That's hilarious.
Standing next to her minivan.
Yeah.
Got the leopard print on. Oh,
Her
yeah.
husband's probably drunk at the golf course.
When is she frustrated? She's frustrated right now.
Yep.
In case you see a news aid.
and our administrators and our teachers are having to go through. You know, it's still just so up in the air. I'm fortunate that I'm at home with my awesome girls, but all the parents that are working, I just can't imagine what they're having to go
Of course she's at
through.
home all day.
Oh, yeah, she had time for this interview, so. I mean,
She's home all day. The only thing she has to do is go out and get apple teas and come back.
Sounds pretty privileged to me, Kevin.
So nuclear.
This is what's up with, like, this is tangential kind of, but what's up with the bump? Like, everything's got to have a bumper sticker. I mean, return to learn, you know what I'm saying? Like, why?
Blow the spread.
Because it's easy to hashtag.
Flatten the
you know,
curve.
Catchy.
Yeah, flatten the curve.
Branding, marketing.
Yeah. I guess. Why? What's up with that? I guess, is it just easier to sell in today's hashtag society? Is that the reason?
It's easier to show your position without actually explaining anything. Like, it's either to pick a side, either you're hashtag build the wall or you're not, and you don't have to go into detail about why you are or why you aren't.
Freaking Bannon, man. Why do you have to go get arrested?
Yeah.
He looks so
You
disheveled.
know, I mean, he's greasy.
I mean, so it shouldn't surprise nobody that Steve Bannon's a greased ball.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Steve Bannon and Eric Prince was involved in that too. That whole
named in the indictment.
Named in the indictment.
Yeah.
Thousands of sealed indictments. Thousands of them.
Yes. So many indictments. But yeah, well, on the bumper sticker stuff, maybe to bring it full circle a little bit, perhaps that's kind of the brilliance in the BLM thing, because,
oh yeah,
you know, you're able to like assign stuff to a position easily, or not, or whatever, you know, and like the extra baggage gets perhaps worked in under the radar, kind of.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important to parse out, like, you just support the hashtag or the entire movement. And I'm pretty settled on just a hashtag. Like, I've heard enough examples and arguments to where, like, the last thing you want to do when somebody says Black Lives Matter is retort, no, all lives matter. Like, that doesn't make sense. There's plenty of examples you can give where you wouldn't say that in any other situation. So don't say it with BLM. So on the record, I support Black Lives Matter, the notion, not the organization.
Sure. Well, and I think
put your fists in the air, Kevy.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah,
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
Fair to say. Well, I think you'd find, like, maybe not totally universal, but pretty damn close to universal agreement with that position, too, you know?
Yeah, how could you disagree unless you're, like, in the KKK?
Yeah, but there is a lot of the All Lives Matter crew. Like, that's a significant thing.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is sort of presupposes that the
I
person
think it's silly.
understands, the you know, like, do you agree with the words that, you know, Black Lives Matter means black people are important and should be counted and considered and, you know, all that kind of thing? I don't think you'd find a huge amount of people that would disagree with that. I mean, I just don't.
They oppose the saying Black Lives Matter because they're like, well, what about our lives mattering?
Right.
And they're like, well, I mean, that, yeah.
And I think what we've done a decent job of illustrating here is that is a result of probably a fundamental misunderstanding of the elements of all of this stuff in the conversation.
I tend to agree.
Which is, I mean, the whole issue with all the bumper sticker junk universe that we live in is that there's no nuance anymore.
And it is. It's completely universal, right? Like the dumbing down of things to make it an easy little hashtag is
nauseating.
Yeah.
Do you have any more, boys, or how do we feel?
Well, I saw something today here about this COVID stuff, about Kim not listening to the White House recommendations.
Oh.
That White House had recommended that Iowa went all masks in public and closed down bars and all this stuff. But Kim was holding out because there was that whole thing this week about how the numbers were jacked up with Iowa's COVID numbers, and that I don't remember the exact thing, but if you look at them, you can tell, like, the positivity rate one day was 3%, the next day it was 21% or 19 or something like that. Like, statistically, very, very improbable that was truly the case. And it had been hovering just under that 15%, which is where Iowa's where Kim's guidelines, the guidelines that have been adopted by the state of Iowa, say that then you increase your restrictions and stuff again.
So is the suspicion then that the books were sort of cooked or whatever to make it seem better than it actually was, and then is, yeah. And so then the inference would be that things are way worse in reality than what was reported.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that and the theory then is that the books were cooked so that not more restrictions would be implemented, and that whole ball of wax. So I found that very interesting. The Bannon thing was super interesting to me, and especially that he got arrested by the freaking post office. He got arrested by U.S. Post Office officers, which I did not know were a thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that they had their own like investigatory and kind of police arm of the post office.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't heard anything about that story really at all. I probably ought to dive into it, but
so they essentially they started a 501c3 to take donations, and your donations are going to help President Trump build the wall, and then they just
took the money.
Okay. Yeah. I think this is the long and the short of it. The accusations. You know,
Sure.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But that's what.
I'm glad I only donated $5.
Did you at least get a bumper sticker or something?
They send me like official Trump, member 2020 cards and like surveys and a whole bunch of crap because I chipped in $5.
Imagine all that postage.
You chum the water, Kev.
Yeah, I recommend not doing it.
Yeah. I think it's better to stay away from a party affiliation.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
If at all possible, just to avoid the annoying calls and the knocks on the door and the everything else.
And I probably will do that in 4 years after Trump is no longer president. But for now, it's really fun.
And then the other thing is this whole post office deal that's going on is kind of interesting to me.
Yep.
I had no clue who the postmaster general was, or like how that position. It's a position that the administration appoints a board of supervisors or something for the post office, and then they in turn appoint the postmaster general, who's he's a big donor, this DeJoy, and holds like lots of assets in post office competitors.
Okay.
UPS and FedEx.
Interesting.
Holds a lot of that stock. And he has been accused by the Dems of, dismantling a whole bunch of sorting machines in battleground states and decreasing the amount of mailboxes on the street by a lot.
Right.
I heard that was so they can get renovated or like fixed up.
Yeah.
He said in the House committee Friday that there's no plans to put those back.
I saw a picture of a bunch of mailboxes that were like piled up, and the accusation was like all these mailboxes were stolen off the street and piled up so people can't mail anybody, and then you can't mail in vote or whatever. Then I saw somebody else like, oh no, these mailboxes are just like here to be repainted or something. They got swapped out with another one or something. But how do you know what to believe anymore? I mean, definitely don't turn to Twitter for your information. The Twitter replies. Might start hearing about magic dicks and stuff.
And with that, we'll see you guys
had
later.
to bring it in.
All right.
You had to do it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, fellas. We had a good episode.
Yeah.
That's enough malarkey for one night.
No doubt.
Get out of here, Jack.
Pony soldier.
Corn Pop was a tough guy.
See ya.